DJI Avata Pre-Release Update. Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by co-hosts Mr. Marcus Crawford and Mr. Ron Braun. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest regarding the DJI Avata, including the release date, pricing, accessories, videos, and a whole lot more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We're gonna take a deep dive here into the Avata because there's just a lot of stuff out there. And the first thing that I want to talk about is we're hearing the 23rd is a pretty firm date for release, and I take it that's what you've heard as well, right, Marcus?
I haven't, Bill, and I'm going to tell you, I am probably the wrong guy to be talking about this. It's just I haven't really spent a lot of time on it, just because I know those goggles won't work for me. So I know a little bit about it. I've looked at the same stuff that you have, and I've heard the rumors about the 23rd, but I didn't know it was a solid date.
Yeah, and that's Ron pinged me earlier on that, and I did some looking around, and that's what all the rumors seem to corroborate is the 23rd.
Hey, Bill, before we get too deep in that, I think we really should point out what Sean has put in the chat there, that he was unable to get official comment from the FAA. So that's a great point, and the audience needs to know that. So
yeah, thank you, Sean, for posting that. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good disclaimer to put up there. So that's very good. And here's Mr. Ron Brown. How are you, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Good. We're just started talking about
you.
Well, of course, always the Sunset Jedi Master. Talking about the Avata. The first thing is that release date, and it looks pretty firm, Ron, from all things I've heard.
Could it be released during the Bill the Drone Reviewer show next week?
It could be, but my thinking is it's either going to be like a 9 a.m. release or it'll be like a 10 p.m. release, that kind of thing. It's either going to be well before or just a little bit after. That's my thoughts.
Right, yeah. I'm guessing the morning since, well, I shouldn't say it. The Mini 3 was morning and the Mavic 3 was the evening, so it could go either way. Marcus, you were going to say something?
Well, I just made me think of a question. Is anybody on this panel going to buy one?
You looking at
Silencio. Yeah, none of us. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a look at things because there's a lot of information out there, and I know there are a lot of people. I think you're going to find you're going to have a few buy it at launch at release, but you're going to have quite a bit kind of like pull back, take a look at it, look at the reviews, see who's got it, see if this is a drone for them. Okay.
Bill, that's me you're describing.
Yes, there it is. That's it right there. Now, I want to show a couple of pictures from a video from Jasper Ellens. I don't want to run the video because if there's, I could get dinged. Okay. So, but I'm going to show you a couple of pictures from the video that Jasper's put out on Twitter.
Good old Jasper.
Now there it is in flight. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that kind of shows that it is it. But what I wanted you to notice is, okay, look at the controller he has right here. Okay.
Yes.
I know it's not real easy. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger here. Yeah. You can kind of see down here.
It's definitely standard controller, right?
Standard,
yeah. The first FPV.
Yeah, because, and I know there's been a lot of talk about, what kind of controller is going to come with this. And we're looking at this right here. So that kind of,
There's still debate whether any of those kits will include that controller. They all will have the motion, but it's up for debate whether you may have to buy that controller as a an option.
Exactly here. Okay. Now, here's
we got Adorama let the cat out of the bag recently, Bill, on some of the pricing on some of the accessories.
Yes, and that's one of the things we're going to go over here. Okay. The Avata charging hub is $59.
That seems reasonable.
And you could tell that's Outerama. I've been there before. The props are $9.
That's reasonable.
ND filters, ND8, 1632, 79. That's reasonable.
Yeah, that's about what right?
The battery, 129.
Is that good? Marcus, how much are the batteries for the first one?
Well, that's batteries nowadays. I mean, so listen, I'm telling you, if you get the Fly More kit, I think it's like $260 or something. That comes.
Yeah, I think somebody said you save $39 if you buy the Fly More kit versus buying the 2 batteries in the hub separately.
Yeah, I mean, so let's make the point. So if you're going to buy a Mavic 3 battery, it's over $200. So to me, that doesn't sound too bad.
No, that doesn't. And then here's the DJI Fly More kit with 2 intelligent flight batteries and charging hub for Avata drone, $279. You can see that right here.
There's the value.
Yeah, and that is a good value. DJI headband for Avata Goggles 2, $19. Prop guard, apparently you can get a spare one.
Yeah, replaceable. Yeah.
Upper frame for $19.
So some of that is true that we heard. This is somewhat modular, so users can repair some of it themselves.
Some of the components themselves, exactly. I think that's really good. It's a battery for Avata Goggles 2 for
the goggles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of good news there, Bill.
There is. Okay. Now, DJI
Avata. Bill, I was going to stop for a second. You showed that guy flying in Jasper Ellen's clip. I like the fact that the goggles are much smaller now. The goggles too. They're more like Fat Shark looking goggles rather than the larger goggles. That's not saying they're going to be any better or worse, but I just like I think they may feel better on your head. Marcus, you've actually had the goggles on, of course, since you have the drone. How heavy do they feel when you have them all strapped on?
Well, you know what? Not too bad. That wasn't my big complaint.
They look heavy, but looks can be deceiving.
Right. The complaint that I would have that this one solves is that I understand that the antenna are foldable on this new version.
That's what I heard.
And that other one, it was a pain. And, every time you get it out, you got to screw all those antenna on there. And I mean, even like everybody that I know that's flown it is, they fly, they go out of range is because they forgot to put those antenna on. So, it's one less thing. You just have to remember to fold them out.
And one thing, I know we're getting Bill off track here, but one thing we did hear too is these new goggles have Oled displays in them, which may make it easier for people that have some vision issues to see everything correctly. Maybe.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to buy one to find out, but if I ever get the chance, I'd love to try those to see if they would work for me. Right? Maybe they will.
Yeah.
I'm like Ron. I'm not going to be buying one, but I do want to watch and see how this all turns out. I think that's going to be very interesting, and I think you're going to have a lot of people in Ron's side of the bucket wanting to evaluate this and take a good look at it before they go out and hit the buy button. I really have a strong feeling. And this article here from Drone DJ, and again, all these articles that I have posted from Drone DJ and Drone XL are on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. But this one talks about, we finally have an answer to why many people have been asking about the Avata's controller. Have no fear, DJI's motion controller won't be the only controller Avata will use, but also the standard FPV controller 2 per Instagram video. Okay.
Yeah.
So and again, we already went over that, and I think that's that's kind of important there. Just because you took a look at this and you take a look and you see, you just have that motion controller there.
Have you ever got the chance to use that motion controller, Bill?
I used a motion controller before on a non-DJI drone, and it's very interesting. Sometimes some things are intuitive, some things are counterintuitive with it, and it takes a while to master something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've used that motion controller right there at Spin Up, and I would never buy a drone if that was the only option I had to fly it with.
But I've heard it's very easy. Now, there's rumors that motion controller, they're going to make it work with the Air 2S and the Mavic 3 as well. I'm just trying to think then, what would you use for an FPV screen? I don't know.
Now, Marcus, how much is that as a standalone item, that motion control? Do you have to know?
It's just under $200.
So
I think
it's affordable. Okay.
Right. Now, so I suppose, listen, guys, I just thought this through. I think I answered my own question. There's also a rumor that they're going to make the goggles work with the Mavic 3. And so that's what it is. You could use the motion controller and the goggles with your Mavic 3. That's, I guess I just answered my own question. Hey.
And I maybe I'm missing the bucket here on this, whatever, but that still doesn't get me jazzed up. If you told me the motion control work with Mavic 3, I'd say, oh, well, that's nice, but I would never think about getting it or doing it. Maybe I'm not thinking this through correctly.
Well, I totally agree with you, Ron. And here's the thing that would get me going. If DJI would make the RC Pro work with my DJI FPV drone, I wouldn't be selling it. I'd be buying an RC Pro, and I'd be flying that FPV drone with that RC Pro.
You mean just as a line of sight flyer?
Well, no, with the FPV feed on the RC Pro.
Oh yeah,
wearing goggles.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with Marcus. If they made it compatible with like the RC Pro, done deal. I would probably get it. I mean, it's, you know,
right, because you don't want to fly like close to anything anyway, so you wouldn't need that. The thing that goggles is allows you to get in tight spots because you're like in the pilot seat, but that's not your style of flying, so it wouldn't make any difference to you.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, what Bill and I'd be doing, we'd be up in the mountains flying you're
in the wide open spaces. You don't really need to see that well. Yeah.
And you know what, Ron? We feel the need. We feel the need for speed.
Yeah. You know,
if DJI's listening to us, they could probably think, hey, if we did all that, those old guys, we'd get a lot of money off those old guys.
Oh yeah.
Lauren just answered the question why they won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, doggone it. Damn it.
Well,
thanks for raining on my parade, Lauren.
Going for a second, Marcus.
Yeah,
you were on a roll.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the things that I thought about the other day, because I looked at some videos on the M30 and the M30T, okay, and looking at it, and also, you know, one of the things that I really liked was there's a dedicated camera just for the FPV view on the M30 and M30T, okay, and then they have, you know, then there's the regular camera, and then there's a thermal camera with obviously with the M30T, and you know, I like that there's a dedicated FPV view here, and I, you know, I can't help but think, okay, going forward, and I know this isn't really Avata talk, and we're going to get back to it here in a second, that going forward, we're probably going to see that on some non-enterprise DJI drones. What do you guys think?
You know, that's the first I hadn't even thought of that, Bill. So I'd have to think about that for a while.
Well, I mean, some FPV builders do that. They have a camera and it's just for flying, and a second camera to record the video. So it's done by builders already, Bill. But I think it would be expensive on kind of a non-enterprise consumer drone to do that from a cost factor.
And what I'm thinking here, okay, and if you could follow me, you know, like on the M30 and M30T, you can daisy chain controllers, okay? So you can have one person totally focused on flying and the other person totally focused on either the videography or thermal, thermal reading and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you said, let's say a Mavic 4, and I'm just throwing this out here for grins and giggles, okay? Let's say on a Mavic 4, you know, you daisy chain a couple of those controllers together, you know, someone focused on flying and the other one's focused on the videography aspect of things. You know,
well, the Inspire, of course, has offered that.
Right. And the Inspire has done that already. But what I'm saying is, you know, bring that kind of on down to like a Mavic series, because, you know, if you really want to look at it and you think about a Mavic 3, for all intents and purposes, it really is more of a professional drone than a hobbyist type of drone.
Right.
Because the quality of the video, the quality of the pictures with that, okay, it rivals some of its big brothers. To be honest with you, okay, there's no better consumer drone out there right now.
Well, we'll see, Bill, in the near future. Maybe that'll come to fruition because you know the Mavic 2 enterprise drones have end of life, Bill. So that means that we probably won't be long before we see the Mavic 3 enterprise drones, an RDK and a thermal version. So maybe that would be the chance to implement either a dedicated FPV camera or dual control.
Now, this was an interesting article that came out the other day regarding the FPV Goggles V2. Sees a price drop ahead of rumor of Avata launch. It was interesting that they come out with this right before the launch. I mean, it's just like, it's incredible. Though the FPV Goggles V2 are currently showing is out of stock on DJI's store, you can pick up a pair with free shipping from authorized resellers, including Drone Nerds, B&H Photo, or Adorama for $429, $140 off. Yet to be announced, Avata is expected to be compatible with FPV Goggles V2. However, a new version of the same called DJI Goggles 2 has already hit the FCC database alongside the indoor-friendly drone and O3 air units. So it's really
I'm going to take a guess and say that the new goggles will come with the Avata will be the de facto FPV goggles from DJI going forward.
Yeah, I think so.
The better OLED, lenses inside, mirrors, whatever you want to call them inside, and like Marcus said, the foldable antenna is the smaller size. So I'm sure these goggles you have up the screen now will be end of life, sometime in the near future.
Okay, well,
there we go. Lauren gave us an update on the Mavic 3 Enterprise.
Mavic 3 Enterprise, yep.
Yeah, that's pretty common for commercial drones, is to have two controllers.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's, and I think one of the things, even touching upon this, this is kind of like a next wave here. And, DJI has got its foot in the water, stuck its foot in the water with their original FPV. And, unfortunately, they learned a lot of lessons with that. Okay. And I think they've done well with this one. I just want to see, I want to see videos on it. I want to see how it works. I want to see how people control it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Bill. So one of the things that I noticed about it is that it's a lot slower than the original DJI FPV drone. Yeah. And let me tell you, I loved flying the DJI FPV drone, and the thrill of it for me was the speed. Hell, my first flight, I threw it into sport mode and boom, full throttle, and it's a lot of fun. And if the goggles worked for me, I'd still be flying that thing. So I still am questioning this, and I realize this is a more of a cinematic product, better camera, all of that. I still am questioning how big their market is going to be for it.
Yeah. That's a real good question, because you have your guys, and I'm going to say, Maddie, I'm going to use you as an example, who are going to dive in and get this, okay, no questions asked, all right, and who are like that. But you have some hardcore FPVers, or like, and I'll use our friend John Coopy as an example, okay, who probably are going to take a step back and take a look at this and see, is this something that's going to pique my curiosity, because it's not going to have a lot of things that the hardcore FPV guys like. Okay,
a guy like John can build a better center loop just off of parts than. But
parts that are out there right now, they can put together a much better one that DJI is offering. Yeah, and for probably a much better price too. And that's the beauty of it, and that's the fun of it. So I think the market for this, it's going to be real interesting to see how this sells and how this does. And I think a lot of it's going to be based. And I think if ever a review on a drone is really critical to a success, it's going to be with this drone. Okay, you knew with like the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3, and Air 2S, and others, you know that it was going to be okay. All right. You just wanted to see the reviews, see how it was, look at the features, that kind of thing. But with this, it's going to be super critical that these reviews, get this going, because if this doesn't start well, it's going to be a long road for DJI with the Avata.
Well, you make a good point. I mean, the Mini 3, the Mavic 3, they were just newer versions of what we already knew. So we knew there would be changes to them, but progressive changes, things that you kind of knew were coming. Where this, even though this is DJI's second FPV drone, it's a different category of FPV. So this is kind of a first drone for them really in this sector. So there are a lot of risks out there for everybody, for first time buyers, for DJI, and you touched on something. This is more of a niche product that won't get in as many hands as something like the Mini 3 did. So this is targeted at a more of a precise, smaller audience.
Yeah, you're right, Ron. It's really, they've kind of laser focused on their target audience with this. Okay, because like with the Mini 3, for example, or with the mini drones, I'll just use that as an example. Okay, that's going to span a wide gap. Okay, and you're going to get a lot of new flyers with like a mini drone coming into things, and a lot of those that don't want to have to get their Part 107 and enjoy the thrill of owning a drone. And it works really well for them. But for ones like this, it's very narrow, it's very defined, and DJI has a targeted segment, and it's really critical that these videos are really going to do a great job. And I'm going to digress for just a quick second here. Who I think does great in terms of release videos? Our friend Potato Jet. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I watched his release video. He got to fly an M30T, okay, yeah. And I watched that, and I just wanted to, and he handled it so well, and DJI actually took him to school, okay, to a training class before they let him fly it, which I thought was very interesting, okay, and I think it would bode well for DJI, not only on their enterprise drones, but like on their higher end consumer drones, to maybe do this with several of the reviewers. Pull them in for a training class on these drones. Just don't hand it and here, have at it, because I know Rick Smith has said, when they get these, it comes in a box from DJI and there's a link for them to find information. Other than that, that's it. There's no manual, no nothing. So you kind of got to figure things out on your own. I think it would bode them well to pull people in on the higher end drones, and especially something like this, especially a totally new type of product, and kind of walk them through this. Have some of the professionals who've been with us, since day one, be able to do that, because that way they can put out a video that DJI is going to love, and consumers are going to love, and it's going to help sell the product.
Well, I'm sure Potato Jet will get the Avata, because he flies regular FPV also, so I'm sure he'll have it on launch day.
Yeah, I'm sure of that too. I mean, it's coming. It'll be here. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and we looked at the accessories, and as far as pricing was concerned, and it seemed pretty reasonable on that. Okay. Now we also looked at the pricing last week, and we talked about that as well. And I think for someone who is hardcore in this, somebody, and I'll use Maddie. We love you, Maddie. They're not going to bat an eyelash at dropping this kind of coin to get something like this, okay? But for others, like Ron, they're going to want to take a step back, take a look at it, see how this plays out, see what kind of a drone this is. Ron may say, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I'm not impressed with the flight time. I'm not impressed with the video, for whatever reason, but you need to watch these videos. I mean,
I'll be totally honest with you, Bill. For me to get it, it would have to really wow me. It would really have to be something in there that would just totally wow me, something above and beyond the first FPV drone from DJI.
I agree, Ron. I agree with you.
Ron and I have had this discussion a million times, Bill, and that is the whole thing of situational awareness. I'm often flying. In fact, I was out at the park this morning and I was flying by myself. If I put those goggles on and everything, I would be so worried about what's going on around
Marcus
me.
and I are the opposite of Kelly Shores. Kelly always says, like, don't fly alone. Marcus and I are the fly alone specialists. So it doesn't make as much sense for us as people fly in groups.
I fly alone too. I mean, I usually fly on Sundays, and Valerie's visiting her mom. So I mean, it's like, it's a good time for me to get out and fly, and I'm by myself. I've always
A lot of my
Super
flying
weird.
comes on the spur of the moment, so I don't have somebody I can just call up and say, "Hey, want to fly in 5 minutes?" Again, I may not know I'm flying more than a few minutes before I do it because it all depends on weather conditions, the sky, how things look outside. Like I can't say I'm going to fly on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. It could be raining, it could be totally overcast that day. The wind could be 30 miles per hour, so it's hard to set a drone date if that makes any sense.
Totally, I completely understand. Yeah.
Here's the biggest question I think everybody has at this point, Bill. When will it be available to order and when will it arrive?
Good
I
question.
think that's the only two things and nobody will know this until that day. But I think that's the concerns of people that are interested don't care that. But if you are interested in getting it, are we going to repeat the Mini 3 fiasco?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean,
What I'll do is real quick, I'll answer it. I think initially there's going to be plenty of product because I don't think there's going to be as high demand for the Avata as there is for the Mini 3.
Plus, supply chain issues have let up a lot.
Question of the day. What did you think of the DJI Avata pre-release update video? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.